Amateur, what are you anyways in auto racing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I should go back to coaching, I think, the way I'm racing. I mean, it's terrible.
Now, we understand that there's some great new draft choices, people that you signed for coach in terms of athletes. Now, what's the story on Minnesota State for next year?
Well, we're not violating any NCAA regulations, but by God, we're going after the best there is in high school football. And I got a line on a couple guys. I think we're going to the Patriot Bowl next year. Olmeyer, Patriot Bowl. Going to be big.
Paul?
All right, Jack Craig T. Nelson. He's got a team of his own right now. So we are under a full course caution, and Paul Newman keeping track of both of his cars, Mario Andretti and Nigel Mansell. This is what caused this full course caution, as Robbie Gordon got to the outside and then got into the side of Eddie Cheever. Raul BOESEL dodging a bullet there, and Fittipaldi and Pruitt and Arie Luyendyk all chalking up the brakes behind him. This is the look from Arie Luyendyk's car as he just slapped the brakes. Paul Tracy is the leader of this run now as we come back to green. He's led 203 of the 341 laps available this year. He continues his lead, but now tacked right on his back end is Mario Andretti and Nigel Mansell as they both maneuver for position. Fittipaldi not a factor back there. He's several laps behind the lead.
And remember, the big change, Paul, was during the pits, and the people that didn't see it, as Mario beat out the guy right behind him, number 5, Mansell, out of the pit. Mansell had no idea that that was going to happen.
Mario, in a sense, ambushed him, I think, as he was leaving the pits, the only place he could overtake him. Now Nigel is going to have to do the overtaking under green out on the racetrack. You know, they're teammates, but they're very aggressive men with an awful lot of pride, and there's no team orders that such one driver or the other should win the race. They are racing for the victory individually.
So Fittipaldi in that 4 car is not a factor. He is running in 16th place, but the rest of these cars are all fighting at the front of the field. Tracy followed by Andretti, followed by Mansell, by BOESEL, by Roberto Guerrero.
And one Chevrolet leading it, 2 Fords following it. The same team right there. Mario Andretti, Mansell on your left. They're trying to outbrake him going in.
Mansell, who is incredible at running down on the inside of the racetrack, slapping those brakes, riding the brakes all the way to the corner. Scott Pruitt takes a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pits. Excuse me, they have changed that now. We had one of his crewmen that was injured in the pits, not yet identified to us. And this stop and go was a result of leaving the pits with hoses still connected. And we'll try to get an update on his crewman as well. Let you know what happened there.
That's a new team. Maybe the guys just aren't experienced enough together right now, because, of course, the driver always wants to leave in a hurry, and I think that's what happened, Paul.
Watching at the front, no change in the order, though RAHAL is closing in on Roberto Guerrero.
This is a very fraught situation because Nigel Mansell's been a little bit faster than Mario throughout much of the day, but he now must get by Mario, and Mario is very aggressive at defending himself on a course like this.
I think we can easily assume that by now we're not too far from the end of the race, and Mansell is very tired and very sore from his injuries in Phoenix. And it kind of looks like he's not as aggressive as he normally is.
Battle for 5th place, the 40 car, Roberto Guerrero. RAHAL right behind him. Goodyear just back from RAHAL. 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's BOESEL also in the fight as well, just ahead of Guerrero. All 4 of these cars in contest with one another, just ahead of them, Nigel Mansell, Mario Andretti, and Paul Tracy. So at this point, now with 80 laps complete, 105 the scheduled distance, it still could go to anyone because the battle is all sitting on one straightaway all together. The leader, of course, is Paul Tracy as FABI comes in and out. This is a stop and go for a speed violation in the pits. He moves back into the fight. He's running 8th. So Paul Tracy has had some pretty good luck so far in the running and remains in the lead. But will Mario and Nigel catch? We'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC station. Overhead, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, the Goodyear Blimp Eagle based in nearby Carson. Many thanks to our friends from Goodyear for providing some really great aerial shots that show you some good relationships in the cars on this course. as you look down now on the streets of Long Beach. That's the combination that leads to the hairpin. And there is the hairpin, and take a look at the gigantic crowd that is here. Every seat is filled. An event that enjoys tremendous success, and like we said, it's starting a very special electricity here.
Paul, the Ford people, a lot of competitors have said that car right there, the Chevrolet-powered cars have had problems getting off the corners. I listen to Paul Tracy as he comes off the hairpin. They've got the Chevrolets running. He buries the throttle about the middle of the turn, and it just jumps off.
Nigel Mansell taking a slow run down shoreline, and several cars, including BOESEL and RAHAL, get past him. Gary Gerald?
Nigel just was on the radio, we're told, saying it's rough as anything. We're assuming he's talking about the engine, the crew very concerned.
So Nigel Mansell, who was looking so strong, chasing Mario Andretti, now he is not.
Well, you know, Nigel Mansell, of course, has been compared with Michael Andretti this year, and Michael is having a lot of trouble in Formula One. You saw Carl Haas there, Mansell's car owner. But as Michael tries to deal with unfamiliar courses over there and is having trouble, remember that when Nigel dealt with an unfamiliar course here, i.e. Phoenix, he had to make these series. Both Formula One and IndyCar are very, very tough for newcomers, no matter how good you are, and both these men are terrific.
Let's listen to Nigel's engine now as he approaches the Toyota turn 1.
Well, Paul, he's definitely down a cylinder, and the engine has probably dropped a valve, just hasn't gone through a piston or into the water. It's really running bad. He has no power.
Nigel Mansell's fallen to 6th place.
Yeah, back to 6th, where you don't score a lot of points.
At the front of the field, it remains Paul Tracy with Mario Andretti now in pursuit. But let's not forget 2 weeks ago at Phoenix.
Now, Nigel will stay in. There's nothing left to do. They've probably already done a lot of damage to the engine. He'll just stay in as long as he can finish the best that he can finish.
You got a glimpse of Mario Andretti. Now Bobby Rahal making a move on Raul BOESEL. This is a battle for 3rd place. He can't get past him there in the first corner. Andretti chasing Paul Tracy. He's 2.5 seconds back from Tracy.
This is turning into an outstanding performance for Rahal. I don't think as the race began he could have hoped to do this well. Suddenly, as you said, he's menacing for 3rd.
And Paul Tracy's average is climbing steadily as we continue to watch this battle with Rahal and Raul BOESEL for 3rd place. Despite 2 full course cautions, the average speed of the race is 91.247 miles an hour. The record is 91.945. So Tracy may be running on a race record here very shortly.
Boy, you can watch right there. They came off of the hairpin turn. There's Rahal. We're on board with BOESEL right ahead of him. And look at the way BOESEL jumped ahead, getting off. Now we're in the drafting with BOESEL. Here's Rahal going to the inside. He can't even get close enough to try a pass on BOESEL there. Not enough straightaway speed.
Rahal's car, of course, is the True Sports car from last year. His team, along with Carl Hogan, has taken over the development of that car, and they are now seeing basically the best performance it's ever had right now.
So that battle continues. Paul Tracy continues to run about 2 seconds ahead of 2nd place Mario Andretti. So now with 87 laps complete, Paul Tracy may have his first win.
Three champions who share a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil.
Nice to have you over here in the States.
Thank you.
Come over here running circles with us.
The incredible thing is a different concept on ovals, isn't it?
Some people just can't get it right.
Even at Indy?
Oh, especially at Indy.
Before, he had somewhere to go.
So what have they got there? Some grass and then more concrete?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, it's not good.
Perhaps I should follow you then.
Not a bad idea, Nigel.
Very unpleasant on an oval, I'd think.
Just remember, don't turn right too much on them.
They're on it all the time.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
Why do you go anti-clockwise?
You're in a foreign country, boy.
Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, we continue to watch this battle, now led by BOESEL around RAHAL. And BOESEL sits in third place. Mario Andretti just ahead of them in second. Paul Tracy leads it. But that brings up an issue of fuel and Paul Tracy's last stop. Paul Tracy stopped 29 laps ago. Bobby, what do you think? Can he make it to the finish?
Paul, according to my figures, he would have to get too good a gas mileage. Well, look at RAHAL working BOESEL there. But according to my figures, he can't make it. Now, if he's got enough speed where he can short shift the thing and turn the boost back, which it doesn't appear that he would have, I just don't see how he's going to make it.
Well, Jack Arute is a little closer to that situation, being in the Penske pit. Jack, what do you think?
Well, Paul, right from the beginning, when he had that shredded tire, they determined that the only way that Paul Tracy could win the race was in order to stay out as long as possible. They have told me they are not going to pit again. They feel that they stockpiled enough fuel early on that they can go the distance. Now remember, in Australia, it was Emerson Fittipaldi's teammate who was in a similar position trying to chase down Nigel Mansell. They only discovered after Mansell ran out of fuel that they had 4 gallons of fuel left in the tank, left in the car itself. They have gone to work since then. They changed computer chips for readout. They're much more accurate now in terms of fuel consumption. They are very confident behind me that they will not be back in the pits again today.
And you do have to remember, too, that the Penske team had 2 cars damaged at Phoenix. They've spent almost the entire time, in fact, all of the time since then, rebuilding cars, cannibalizing one from the other, just to come here with 3 machines, so they haven't had a whole lot of time to address their readout problems that they suffered on fuel early in the year.
Yes, and also remember their telemetry wasn't working right in Australia, but it's working good now, so they're seeing in the pits what Tracy's doing. Tracy doesn't really have to know it.
Lap leaders thus far in the race, Mansell early on, then Tracy, powerful after that. And look at Tracy to the lead now here on the 92nd lap, 105 laps the scheduled distance.
If Tracy, of course, has to pit or runs out of fuel right at the end, that, as things are going right now, hands the win to Mario Andretti, duplicating what happened in Phoenix 2 weeks ago. That makes this battle currently for third a battle for second, and it looks as if RAHAL has just swept into that position. It's third now. It would be second were Tracy to run into trouble.
RAHAL under and around BOESEL picks up third place for the moment, but as Sam suggests, if Tracy is in fuel problems and has to come in, he only has 4 seconds on second place Mario Andretti. He can't possibly get in and out in that 4 seconds, and that would hand the race over to Mario as the leader.
Remember, RAHAL